Hello, kids. Welcome back to part three of the Gatorade advertisement. We have completed our Gatorade bottle and bottle cap. I'm going to minimize Illustrator and go into Photoshop now. Here is a photo that I'm going to use for my image. And before I start this, I'm going to check the image size of this picture, and you'll see it is 68.8 megabytes. Boy, that is very, very big. Um, it is a great photo. I mean, look how sharp and crisp and beautiful that is, but that's just way too big for what I'm going to use it. If I were working for Time Magazine, yeah, maybe I would use that. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 72 pixels per inch. Now look what's happened now. Now it's hasn't changed that at all, has it? So let's see. Let me resetting. Thank you. Okay, I used to be on this side. Okay, so let's try a resample at 72 and bring that down to 3.96. And it says right here 13.28. That's okay. So I hit OK. Now you see it's very small, so I'm going to go back here and do it again because this is what they call resolution. So if I uncheck that now, it's at 3.96. Now if I uncheck it and add 300, so now it's 3.9. It's 3.2 by 4.8 in size. So it's a much smaller image, but for what we're doing, it's fine. If I were actually doing this um, for the Gatorade company, I might have used something very similar to the original size. Now that's interesting enough, but I'm going to leave this here for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the page that we're supposed to open for this project. The page that you're going to be using, go to the instructions. Is going to be print size, and it's going to be 7.5 by 5.5 inches, 300 pixels per inch. We'll keep it at 3 RGB color for now. Create, and here's our page. I'm going to type Control R. That will bring up the ruler so you can see it's 7.5 by 5. Now, I'm going to go ahead now and place the image that I have. No, I think it's here. It's one of these. There it is. Choice of the size right here and all that. So go ahead and place. And now it's in my page. Let me just go ahead and make it a little small. Now hit the check mark, or you can hit enter, hit check mark here. Now that places. Now let's look at the image now here. If I go to image size, you'll notice now it's 10.6. It's this big, and it's 7.5, and it's 300, the whole page, including the white background. So you see, when you bring the photo in like that, it adjusts the photo to the resolution that you're working in, rather than the other page. This one here, it's the original size, but I can still keep that. Now, I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save it. Don't save. And I'm going to undo this too. And now I'm going to go ahead and place it, but this time I'm going to place it linked. If I do that, which one is it? So this one? Here we go. Now if I do that, check the size. See what does that do? Now you can see it's the same size there. Okay, it's 7.5, 300. So that's fine. So I didn't have to change anything to the picture. It all adapted to exactly what I wanted it to be. Now, to design this page, certainly I'm going to be replacing my bottles. So let me go ahead here. On my desktop, I believe. I'm not placing the bottles. I have the bottles open. So I'm going to copy and paste the bottles. So let's go to File and Edit and copy. Notice I had to click on it first, right? And I'll go back here and I'm going to place it. File and paste. That's what I want to paste right there, right? Let's paste it as a smart object. Add it to the library. You can do that now. Click that, click OK. We couldn't do that before. So here's the bottle. I'll just make it smaller. Place it right over here. So you can see I've got an advertisement building. Now what am I going to do to build this ad? How do I want this ad to work? How do I want it to do? Well, let's talk about some principles of design. I've already opened up some things here. I'm going to talk to you about CRAP. Now that's one of the videos that is in the classroom here. That's one of the videos that's in here. This one right here. Take a look at this. This girl is going to talk about, and this. It's the same girl. These are two very good videos, 6 minutes long, very short. And she's going to explain to you about contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. And that's what I'm showing you here. Here's contrast. Let me just explain to you what contrast is. Look at this picture of the wine glasses. Black and white. That's contrast. Look at this. You've got black and white contrast. You have some color contrast here and some color contrast. Here's a good example of contrast in a photographic manner. Your focus is right into that apple. Even though they're all apples, your focus is right into that one because of the color. So contrast can be used big sizes versus small sizes, colors, black and white, photos versus like this, photo versus color. If you had a big black and white photo on one side, a big white space on the other, same thing. That's contrast. Take a look at contrast. Let's read about contrast. Contrast is the state of being strikingly different from something else and juxtaposition or close association. I think that really explains it to you. You've got some pictures. Take a look at them. See the different concepts, the different ways people have used contrast in the past. Look at some of these here in design. Many of you, you're probably very familiar with this. Great example of contrast in design. Contrast. So you take a few minutes and look at some of those and get the idea here. Here's a few others here now on repetition. Repetition is the next letter, C-R-A-P. Repetition is the concept of repeating things more than once to give them more emphasis. You can do photographic repetition, or you can do text repetition. You can repeat color. You can repeat color. You can repeat words. You can repeat images. even three similar photos. Repetition creates pattern, and it creates rhythm in your image. So keep repetition as a very important part of your design as well as contrast. The next one is alignment. Alignment is really all about, oh, let me go back to repetition. I didn't look at the definition. The definition of repetition is the action of repeating something that has already been said or written. The recurrence of an action or event. So keep that in mind. Alignment now, particularly when we're talking about text, alignment is aligning things in the center, aligning them to the left, aligning them to the right, aligning boxes up to each other, aligning images to each other. I'm not getting a lot of really good examples of this. Everything in your design, though, should be aligned to something else. And as I said, the video that you'll see later will explain that further. Proximity is a little bit more difficult to understand. When you take a single image, like a dot, and you place more dots, this whole thing looks now as like one group. As so does B. You see how if you put things together, they kind of form a group, and people see them as one thing. Let me look at graphic design. What do they have here? This example is actually used in one of our videos on typography. So Kenya Reed is the web designer. So they kind of place her type together. This is the telephone number, the address, and the website. That's all the contact information. They throw all that together. And then here's some graphics that just kind of give you the idea of what Kenya Reed does as a web designer. Computer web design, probably email advertising, and whatever the hell that is. So contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity are the four basic principles of design that work best in illustration, and that work best in graphic design, in advertising and magazine design. So let's go back to our advertising and design. You'll notice now, with just the picture and this white space, I have created contrast. I can do contrast in a lot of different ways. I can cut the subject out of the image and create contrast that way. Let's see what happens. Strangely, I'm not getting my select. Indeed, I am on the wrong layer. There we go. So we just click here on select subject. Now, let's say I'll just fix this right here. Do Control J, that puts her on her own layer. And now I've reduced my my contrast and the whole thing really, but still create some contrast by bringing in this box. Why didn't somebody tell me that was doing that? And again, now I have some new contrast. Yeah, I don't really want to do that, but I'm just trying to create that whole contrast thing. No more contrast there. So creating contrast is usually the first thing I like to do when I'm designing my images. Now, let's go ahead and complete this creation here. Now, if I want to go ahead and I'll make this a little smaller. Give it a nice stroke. Now I want to create some color in the background. I still have contrast, but let's get some color from this image here. Let's take this color shirt right here and fill this background in. Edit and fill. And we'll do the foreground color, which is that color right there. There we go. And now I want to go ahead and give this vector image outer glow. Just make that kind of glow a little bit. A little darker. Now, here, nested behind the rectangle tool is the custom shape tools. And here they are right here. Now, this is going to look a little different than what it looked like at school. They've changed the things. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to need a gorilla for for my next design or a boat. But and it kind of shocked me. I said, "Oh my God, where are all our great design custom shapes?" So you can get those. Just click here. Oh no, it's not here. See, you gotta close this. You gotta go up to Window, and go down to Shapes. Then, see, that's the same thing that you just saw up here. But now when you go over here, you can get, and I had to research this too, legacy shapes and more. And now these are all the legacy shapes that we used to have. Now they're in groups, so that makes it a little bit easier. Ornaments. So they're, I don't know if that helps in searching them, but they're easier to see now, that's for sure. And what I would do is grab maybe a banner. So we can go with our female. Now you can change the color of these items by just clicking here. You gotta click back on the shape tool here, and then you get colors, patterns. Colors. I was looking kind of for gold color, so I'm going to go here to my color libraries. Something like this. Go. And certainly that deserves a drop, a bevel and emboss. And I want to make it look kind of like goldish, so I'll go with a chisel hard. Bring that depth up. And, I don't know, that's kind of weird, isn't it? I guess I'll go with that. Maybe throw a drop shadow in. Remember, you want to click right here on the drop shadow so you can make the change. If you click just on the box, then you won't have any changes here. See, I'll show you. If I click here on drop shadow, on color overlay, then I go here to drop shadow. If I click the check mark, see, nothing's, I'm getting a drop shadow actually, but I can't change the drop shadow unless I click right on the words. Look at this, they changed these now. So let's see, I'm going to go ahead and click this color here, and I'm going to find gold color like that. Click over here, find a darker color. So that's playing around with those custom shapes. You should probably get a custom shape in yours. There are so many that it can be so much fun. I'm not sure where all of them are now because they've been moved, but that's the whole idea anyway. Now, if I throw in some typography, you're going to need a header, something like Gatorade. And here's the character panel. I'm going to use small caps. And I'm going to make it, where's Gatorade go? Red, orange. And find the right Gatorade font. Now I'm going to line up the top of my G with the top of my picture like that. Give it a drop shadow. Just like that. And now actually when I choose these colors, I often click like this, and then I choose something from the picture to make the color. But in this case, I've already used the blue, not too much else. Purple in the background here. So, I think I'll keep what I got. So, and you'll need a subheader. Let's see, Gatorade. Let's see. Gatorade for stamina. I remember that that's one of the things in the briefing. They said that Gatorade good for that kind of thing. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use some tracking. Spread this type out a little bit like this. Too much. Now I want to use the same drop shadow as Gatorade, so we can hold your Alt key and drag that up. Like that. Okay. I don't want to go too much further, but that's kind of the idea. And I'm going to grab my, just going to copy and paste the cap. Rotation here. And there's my Gatorade advertisement. I'll do file save and go ahead and save it. That ends our good luck on your project now. Any questions? You know where to get me.